On today's tax update, we'll recap where things currently stand with the processing of amended returns. We'll also take a look at the top reasons why those still waiting on their tax refunds are experiencing delays. There are three specific reasons that this is happening. We'll also take a look at why many are seeing their refunds on hold due to ID verification and what the 570 code means for those seeing those on those tax transcripts still experiencing delays. Recapping where things currently stand with amended returns, as we're seeing many of those returns submitted in the months of March and April now having moved into the completed stage of processing, with refunds having already gone out or scheduled to shortly. However, those who filed in the month of May, as seen here in the screenshot on the right, are now wondering why they're not seeing any movement to their status, and simply that is because it's still too soon. On average, it's taking 4 months for the return to move from received to adjusted, and from there, it is averaging another 3 weeks for the return to move from adjusted to completed, with another 4 to 6 weeks after that for the refund to be issued. So overall processing is still averaging 6 to 7 months. Now, moving on to those tax refund delays and the top causes for extended wait times. Starting off with your return may be under further review or even audit as a result of a potential issue the IRS has identified during tax processing. If you've been waiting in excess of 60 days and have claimed the earned income tax credit or child tax credit, this is likely the cause of your delay. Now, this is the most easily identifiable issue when it comes to those delays because you can identify if your return is under review or audit by locating either the 420 or 424 code on your tax transcript. The second reason for refund delays is your employer's wage information has still not been processed, and those impacted by this are most likely to receive one, if not multiple, 60-day notices indicating the IRS needs an additional 60 days to process your tax return. And one version of the 60-day notice indicates the IRS is waiting on your tax information to be available on their computer system. One way to see if you're impacted by this delay is to see if your 2022 earnings have been reported by either logging into the IRS account and checking your wages and earning transcript, which is recommended to do first. If you're seeing nothing there, then it's advised for you to check your Social Security account and check if your 2022 earnings have been reported. If the IRS and SSA do not have your wage information, this is likely cause of your delay, and you may need to submit to the IRS upon request a copy of your W-2 and year-end pay stubs so that processing can in fact continue. Third reason for continued delays is ID verification is still needed. Now, ID verification impacted millions last year as well as this year, and we still have viewers who are seeing their refund delays as a result of this who are not aware this is the cause, especially if they do not receive any ID verification notices from the IRS in the mail. Now, tax transcripts will not identify this particular issue, so the only way to determine if this is cause of your delay is by contacting the IRS or taxpayer advocate for assistance. Now, the fourth reason is for delays is if you submitted a paper tax return, and as a result, you will experience some of the longest wait times as the IRS must manually enter your tax return line by line into their computer system. Unfortunately, there's really no way to speed that process up, and the IRS will not even mark your paper return as received until processing actually begins. Now, there have been significant progress made on paper returns in the last several months to now a record year low, but at this point it appears there's about 100,000 unprocessed paper returns remaining, so probably will carry over until the end of the year. And the final reason is if your return is just in the unprocessed backlog and really at the back of the line. Now, this applies more to those who have recently filed their tax returns. Several states had their federal tax filing deadline extended as a result of disaster declarations, but also those taxpayers who filed extensions and others who just simply filed late. We've had viewers file in the last 30 days asking why they've not seen any updates, and one reason is there's still over 1 million unprocessed tax returns ahead of them at this point. Now, one of the questions continuing to come in is what does it mean if there's a 570 code on their tax transcript? And that means there's a hold on the IRS account that prevents the IRS from completing processing of the tax return and issuing of that refund. Now, the IRS will attempt to resolve the potential issue identified themselves. If it's a simple data entry error on the tax return, that oftentimes they can fix themselves without requiring you to amend your tax return. However, if the entry error is substantial or there's another issue that has arisen, the IRS may request additional documentation so that processing can in fact continue. Now, the need to complete ID verification is common, and those impacted should receive one of several notices, one being the 5071C notice like seen here to complete ID verification. Now, last year, the IRS flagged nearly 5 million tax returns for ID verification, as a result putting freezes on those tax refunds, and this impacted a number of our viewers who in some cases waited over 6 months to identify this was even the cause of their delay. Also, it has to be mentioned 2.5 million taxpayers never even responded to ID verification as a result, when it came to EITC audits. Now, among that number, obviously that included those who were illegitimately filing returns, but there were people actually who did file legitimate tax returns and never responded and lost out on that EITC part of the refund as a result. For any viewers still waiting on last year's tax refund for their tax year 2021 taxes and never completed ID verification, please contact the IRS immediately to confirm this is the cause of your delay and to complete ID verification steps. For those still waiting on their refunds and who claim the Earned Income Tax Credit or Child Tax Credit, make sure to respond to that CP75 letter as seen here from the IRS requesting documentation so that tax processing can continue. There's a chance the IRS may have sent it and you never received it, which is a common scenario, as in 2021, 42% of those who were requested to submit documentation relating to an EITC audit never did. If impacted, contact the IRS to immediately have another copy of the letter sent out so you can comply with the request and see that refund released. Let us know in the comment section below about your ongoing tax issue. In the meantime, we'll keep monitoring the situation for further developments, so make sure to click on the thumbs up and subscribe button below for future updates on this channel, and thanks for watching.